there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. I've got a lot of crafty fun for us to do today. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Today we're going to be making some farmhouse home decor signs using mostly Dollar Tree supplies. So let's get started with project number 1. For this project, I've got a 11 by 14 canvas for my supply, one of these round signs from Dollar Tree, and then this new thing in, at least to our Dollar Tree, this package of 2 bamboo rings, and of course we'll be using some paint sticks. Now I'm going to be using the larger ring out of the set, and then of course I already have my sign sanded and ready to go, removed all the paper and everything off, and my frame, I took the canvas and everything off of it, the staples out, it's ready to go, and then I cut my paint sticks. You're going to need 7 of them if you use this size of a canvas frame, cut to fit the back. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just going to lay my paint sticks in the position I want them, just kind of equal spacing apart so I can get ready to glue them. I'm not giving you the length of these paint sticks in case you use a smaller canvas frame size, but make sure whatever canvas frame size you pick, it fits the round circle sign and bamboo sign that you're going to put in the center. So I'm just using some wood glue here, just adding a little bit on either end and then gluing these down, of course, onto the back. I originally wanted to make like a lattice pattern on the back, but my paint sticks are just a little bit too thick and then was going to make it really bulky on the back. So that's why I decided to just kind of lay them in this vertical fashion here. And plus, it's a little less work, but still looks stunning in the end. So just getting them all into position, and then we'll set that aside and let the wood glue, do its thing. And then I want to use a couple of scrapbook papers here to, make our sign pretty. Now, I originally traced my regular circle sign, but then realized my bamboo frame is going to sit on top. So I actually want to trace the inner of my bamboo circle. And then once I did that, you can see here I am redrawing another circle here about, a quarter of an inch in. And then that's the pattern that I'm going to cut out so that when I lay the bamboo circle on top of the other wood circle and then lay this pattern paper inside, you're going to see a little bit of perimeter of that wood. So we'll just get this finished cutting out, and then I'll show you kind of what I was talking about here. So see, lay that on top, we'll lay this inside, and you see that little bit of perimeter of wood around the edges. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pattern, because I want to use 2 sheets here. I want to layer them, of course, and I'm tracing that one, and I'm coming in and doing the same thing again, redrawing a new pattern, cutting it out, and that way you see 2 sheets of paper here, and it will look really pretty inside our frame. Then I'm going to come in here with my wood glue and a paintbrush and get some onto this bamboo ring. I like to put it on with the paintbrush. I just kind of feel like I have a little bit better control in it. I don't get it too thick. I guess wood glue doesn't need to be that thick. I'm going to put the ring on the bottom and the sign on the top so I can make sure that it's even all the way around. And then I'm going to use these Dollar Tree clips to kind of clamp it into place here. The bamboo circle is just like 1/32nd, a little bit bigger of, it's my measurement, of the round circle sign. So that's why I laid the sign on top of the ring to put it into position. Don't you love my measurements? 1/32nd. Now I want to use these little 1/2-inch nails. Even though I know the wood glue's nice and strong, I still want to make sure these are stable, because y'all know I sell these at craft shows and personal orders, things like that. So I just want to put a little nail in at each end of the paint stick. So just show a few of these here, and then of course it's miraculously all completed. Perfect. Liking it. Now we're going to go ahead and skip to getting our papers with a little bit of personality to them. I am taking them to my sewing machine. Those of you that might be new to my channel, I love sewing on all my papers. I just use all polyester thread because that's what my machine likes. And I do a size 10 or 11 needle, and I have my stitch length set on 4. Now your machine might like a size 9 needle. You need to play around with it. If the holes are too big, go a little smaller. But this is what it looks like. I just sew on it like it's regular fabric, and then I'm going to come in with the open end of my scissor blades, and I'm going to scrape along the edges to give us a little bit of texture on our paper as well. Like I said, just adding a little bit of personality. This is what it looked like on this one. And then we'll show you what it looks like on this sheet as well. You can see how nice and distressed that is. And then we're going to come in and start our painting. I'm going to use Debbie's Design Diary DIY chalk paint, little black dress, and I'm going to paint up this entire frame and everything. Front and back, of course. I want it all nice and finished off. Just show a little bit of the painting here because y'all know how to paint, but I do want to show you that I did it. I think I just do one coat here because I end up distressing it and stuff, so I don't worry about. And this little black dress paint, this is one coat, is really covers really well, as you can see. And then I'm going to come in with my sander here off camera, and I'll get it all sanded. Once the wood glue is set on our little frame here, I'm going to take our little clamps off, and then I would do the same thing. I'll come in with the little black dress and paint it inside and out. I don't think I paint the very center on the front side, but around the edges, because, you know, that's what's going to be seen around the paper. And, of course, I'll sand it as well. And you can just see right here where that bamboo circle is. See, it's just a slight bigger, but you don't notice it when it's on the frame. It actually looks fine. Here, everything is all distressed and ready to go. Perfect. And now I'm going to start putting our little frame on the front. I'm just going to kind of tack it down in the 3 spots where it meets in the center here with my Beacon Fabri-Tac glue. And of course, I'm going to make sure everything is nice, measured correctly. I'm always a little bit obsessed about that. And then I'm going to come in with some of those little short nails and then go ahead and just, you know, 4 corners, hammer these in through the paint stick so I know that sign is not coming off. And while I'm at it here, remember, I'm going to go ahead and put some little hangers on here. I keep these little hangers that come off those round wood signs because you all know I use those a lot, and they're perfect to put back on here. And then we're going to go ahead and glue our papers down. Add the black one first, of course. This is a quote I am using. I did it with my Cricut machine. If you don't have that, Dollar Tree has in some new items. At least ours just got it in. The set of 2 laser cut wood words would look beautiful here. This is the love word. They're really, really thick. Let me pull one out here and show you. Look how thick these are. They're awesome. They have home word, or even believe word that you could use here if you don't have a cutting machine. I'll make sure I have the fonts to the projects I use in the description box today, so if you do have a cutting machine and want to use the same fonts, they'll be listed down there for you. Once I get this on, off camera, I'll glue this on, but off camera I decide this paper's just a little bit plain, so I take my chalk paint, my white chalk paint, mix it with water and use my fan brush and, you know, tap some splatters onto it. So you'll see that in the final looks. But once I get this glued on here, the splatter's done off camera, this project is complete. So let's move on to project number 2. For this project, I'm going to use one of these metal flowers from Dollar Tree. I'm coming in with another round wood sign. This is a little bit different one. Those have like a stake on them. I think that they were in the garden section. And then ours just got these in. They're new. They come like this, a set of 2 tag shaped. I'm going to actually just use one of these and like cut off a little section of it. All right, and then of course I'm using another canvas frame for my supply. This is a 12 by 12 canvas frame, and I've already taken all the staples and canvas and everything off of it. Right, I love how that looks already. And then I'm going to use some square dowels here because I'm going to make like an X pattern in the center. So one's in its entirety and then one's been cut in half. And if you don't have square dowels, you can, of course, use round dowels. You want like the longer ones, like you can get at Walmart, package of the longer dowels. And you'll want to do the same thing, 1 long one and then 2 short ones. It'll be easier than just gluing them one over the other, I think. So I'm going to figure out my dowels here, get them going. I want to kind of line them up here, lay the longer one, and then kind of hold the two together in the center and make a mark on the longer one so that I know where to glue the two shorter pieces, you know, that will kind of meet in the center of the longer one. And then off camera, I do show you a little bit later, I add another piece of little thin wood on top across the center of these two here so that adds more stability, and I'll show you that a little bit later. But I'm going to set that aside to dry. And so I cut, it's about a couple inches off the end here. I'm just going to use my ruler and a craft knife, and I'm just going to make a couple of slices here. And I'm just going to snap it back and forth. And then sand it off, of course. I love these. These are like kind of chalkboard signs. They have a rectangle and then the tag shape like I'm using. And then I made a little tag shape out of paper here, a little pattern, just so that I could draw it on here and then do the same thing, kind of cut off the little corners. Craft knife, snap them off, and then sand them, of course. And then that way I've got just a little tag shape here. Just like that. Nice and easy. We're going to move it back onto the flower. I want to take off this one piece here. I started to pull the whole thing off and then realized I would make a hole in it. So I'm just kind of bending it back and using my wire cutters. And then I'll leave a part of that on there. So now this is the round circle sign, of course, off camera. I've got it all ready to go and just sand it around the edges, you know, getting the paper off. And then I'm going to come into my canvas here. I love the color of it already. It almost pains me to use this Waverly wax mixed with water and use it as a stain and paint it on here. But once I get it sanded and everything, it still looks really pretty. But I don't know. I mean, I could have just left it, but then, you know, and you could just leave it if you find one like this once you take the canvas off. Find one like this that's just equally as pretty. You know, you don't have to paint it, but I just wanted it just a tad bit darker, I guess is what I should say. But see, then once I sand it, it still looks really cool, and I get those kind of variations of light and dark, so I like how it turned out. So here's my X made out of my sticks, of course, and see I've got a little piece. It's like one of those flat coffee stir sticks. Wood glued it on the back over that center to give it a little more stability. I'm going to use Little Black Dress again, Debbie's Design Diary DIY chalk paint. And I'm going to use Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Drop Cloth for these. So I'm going to come in on the flower first. I'm going to pull these petals forward so I can paint the back petals first. Kind of helps hold the flower and paint. And it takes 2 coats to cover the pinkness of this flower. But I did 3 coats because I want that kind of that thickness of paint look, if you know what I mean. So that's what I did. 3 coats front and back of all the petals. Do a little bit of painting here. We're skipping to the back side. Marshmallow. I could hear Kitty. I call her Marshmallow because she's fluffy, my kitty. She's over there on her scratch board, right in the middle of my recording, of course, but I'm leaving it in because that's life, right? And then once that flower's been all painted, I'm coming in with the Little Black Dress paint shade and coming in on these square dowels, and I'll get that painted. I, of course, will distress them with my sander off camera. And then I'm going to come in as well on the tag here and just kind of paint along the edges. I do even paint on the front. Even though it's black, it's kind of a different shade of black. And, you know, even though I'm going to add scrapbook paper on it and I do let the edges show a little bit, sometimes you see those edges a little bit, you know, so I just like to have it all covered. Coming in with my scrapbook paper here for my sign. I'm going to cover the front and the back. You can see how I left a little bit of the perimeter showing just like I did in the last project. And I'm going to do the same thing on the tag here, front and back. So I traced each piece and then cut them a little bit shorter all the way around, right? We know that drill. And then I'm going to come in here and, of course, back to my sewing machine. Now, you can use all cotton thread. My machine is just kind of particular. It's an El Cheapy Brother machine I got at Walmart like probably 5 years ago after Thanksgiving sale. Got it half price for like $49. They have one that's very similar to it now that's about $79. And it's just a basic machine, straight stitch and zigzag. And I use it just kind of for sewing paper. Again, on tension set on 4, stitch length set on 4, and it's ready to go. And then, of course, again, coming in with my scissors because I like that look. This distressing on the edge kind of helps the paper to kind of, you know, lift up a little bit, so to speak, off of the wood. So it looks nice that way. You can kind of see what all these look like, giving that little edge. You don't have to do any of this. It looks perfectly fine without sewing or distressing. It's just my little bit of personality I like to add in there. So we're going to go ahead and get our paper glued on to back of our tag and get our paper glued on to the back of our circle and front of our circle. You notice I haven't glued the paper onto the front of the tag yet. We'll do that in a minute. I, of course, again, created a little quote here with my Cricut machine. I know Dollar Tree has tons of stickers with quotes and stuff on them that you could put on there. You could print something off of your computer onto your scrapbook paper. I used to do that all the time before a cutting machine. And then you can cut it out to fit the front of your tag. And, you know, just print it onto that paper, cut it out, you know, fit the front of your tag. And then you've got a quote ready to go and you don't even have to buy anything. You can make it say what you want it to say. Again, I will have the name of the fonts in the description box for you. So this one is Grow in Grace. I thought it was kind of cute for, you know, it has the flower for growing. And then, you know, Grace kind of has that inspirational there. So glue that onto the front of the tag. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of glue my dowels to my round circle center here, using the Fabri-Tac glue because I will add some nails as well. Get that centered how I want it to be. This is what it looks like. Here are my nails. I did it off camera. I just did one in each corner. The tiniest of tiny diameter nails, or it's going to split that dowel, okay? You got to find the tiniest. I had just tiny, tiny, tiny diameter finish nails, all right? Tiny, tiny, tiny. They look big here in the camera because I've got them up close, but here they are. I went ahead and put them at the end as well around the dowels and added my picture hanger while I was at it. Now I've got a couple pieces of cardboard here. I've glued them together. I'm putting them to fit the center of this flower on the back since it's recessed because I want that to be leveled to be able to glue it to the center of our wood sign here, right? So that's why I added some cardboard here. And we're going to do the same thing on the front. We're going to have to add a couple layers of cardboard to make the front of the petals be level to house our tag. So I'm placing this down in the center. Now, I like how this flower looks now. But if you want and you want to add, like, take a Sharpie marker, add a little distressing to it to kind of give it that worn ceramic look, you can do that. I love that look when I see it done, but whenever I go to do it, it looks stupid. So, but if you want to do that and kind of add that Sharpie marker around the edges of the petals and stuff, like I said, to give it that worn ceramic look, would look really cool. So here's my layers of cardboard here. These are on the front, it's 3 pieces of cardboard together, just in the center and in a couple of the petals, so that I can come in and put this tag on. It'll lay nice and level because, you know, our petals are all kind of 3D-ish. I'll lay it on here and then I'm going to adjust the petals up around it. I think I do that off camera. And I've got some twine here, really thin twine I've tied into a bow. And then I'm going to use a couple of really tiny beads here. And I'm going to put these beads, one on each side, through both tails of the twine, since I have 2 pieces of twine here, right? Both together, and then I'll tie a knot on the end of each so that our bead doesn't fall off, cut off the excess. Just like that. I just thought I'd give a little something, a little bit more personality to it. And I'll show you here what I use. I think I've only showed this once before. I'll show you it again to get this really thin twine. This is ribbon from Hobby Lobby. It's $3.99. It comes in this color and in a light brown, like normal twine color. Get it half price, and then you could just pull these apart and then you have really thin twine. So there you go. So I'm now going to take this bow and I'm going to glue it into the center, and then once I do that, this project is complete. So I hope you like both signs that I came up with today. I think they're both kind of unique, and I think they would look really stunning in any home decor. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know which one was your favorite, and do you think they are easy enough that you would actually attempt to make one for yourself? Please give this video a thumbs up. It so helps my channel to grow. And if you walked in here for the first time today, you're just checking my video out and you're digging what you saw, please make sure before you click off you hit that red subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on another video from me. Before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. Trusting God, who has allowed disappointment, requires a big faith. Many of us are tempted to give up hope, yet God urges us to move forward with trust. Sometimes when we're going through tough times and we hear such a long silence, we fill God's silence with our own solution. Maybe we feel we don't trust Him, but by doing this, we are being the judge of what is good without knowing what the full picture is. We have to try and not make God's plan or His will more difficult by doing it ourselves. We often try and take control because the wait seems impossibly long, but it's the timing of God that makes a difference, and we have to hold on. During this time of waiting, it's imperative that you don't turn your back on God. You must keep the faith. It's not always about us. Often, others are impacted as well. When it's the right timing, God will come spectacularly into view, show you His plan, move you forward in the right direction, and fix your situation. But you have to remember, it's His timing and His direction. It's like when we're raising a family, you're the parent and you know what's best for your child. So know that God, as your Father, knows what's best for you. He is always at work behind the scenes. He always knows what's best for your life at any given moment to give you the best possible outcome. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.